it is a big day. And of course, as we mentioned earlier, solar eclipses, although rare, have been around as long as the Earth itself.
That's right. And for those thousands of years, ancient cultures have made a pretty big deal out of the whole thing. Here to add some context and history is Dr. Patricia Matthews. She's a professor of anthropology at Borough of Manhattan Community College. Dr. Matthews, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, hello.
So take us through how ancient civilizations approached this phenomenon.
Well, like most human societies everywhere in the world and at every time, we have always aspired to understand phenomenon, even when we don't know if it's natural or supernatural. So there's a vast range of responses and interpretations that have taken place. And it's amazing that places that are far away in time and space coincide in some of the fears that are expressed when science cannot explain them, that is a natural event. So most of them see it as a time of transition and transformation, and they try to make sense of it as if it was an opportunity for renewal. But they also address possibilities of conflict and fear of death, or the possibility of conquest of a particular ruler or emperor.
So that, I mean, that's an important thing to build off of too, right? I mean, has there ever really been a empire or like a monarchy or something where, or even, you know, these different ancient battles that go along with it, has there been anything where an eclipse has really kind of turned the tide when you look at it and go, ooh, bad omen, something like that?
Yes, they have been in various parts of the world. Like we can mention, for instance, the case of China, where they interpreted the sun as being beaten by a major dog and a real or a dragon in some other points of time. And what the rulers do is they address their anxieties by going to their diviners and trying to explain something that further controls the population. And in Mesoamerica, we had three important civilizations, the Mayas, the Aztecs, and the Incas. The Mayas were the earliest ones, but they were the ones who developed a calendar that was very sophisticated, and they could actually predict eclipse. It's so interesting, just to continue trying to answer your question, how different it is when a population, when a society thinks that they can explain or anticipate or predict an eclipse. If you cannot predict it, it's all about possibilities of falling or possibilities of having the prince die, like it happened with the Aztecs, for instance.
And you mentioned that I mean, being able to potentially predict it. I mean, so the question is, how well did they do?
Well, considering that by the 2nd century of this era, the Mayas were able to, they had figured out that eclipse happened every 177 days. They were also incredibly precise in the calendars, and they were amazing mathematicians. It's interesting, but this hasn't happened in other new civilizations throughout the Americas. We have many of different degree of complexity, but for them, it did make a difference to sort of figure out the skies and anticipate that maybe this will be coming soon. Because in those societies, predicting something like that had immense repercussions on the seasonal cycles that they used to grow their crops and anticipate floods or other disasters. And it's very different to understand something as natural, as part of the natural phenomenon, than to see that it's something that comes from the deities. In the case of the Aztecs or the Incas in Peru, for instance, they adored the sun. The sun was a deity. So when they saw these images where the sun was being obscured, if you think about it, what they saw at the beginning was maybe what appears to be a huge animal biting the sun. And there are so many of these societies and cultures throughout the world who interpret that as a big beast that is trying to devour their deity. So it becomes a moment of conflict, of possibility of war, and of how to protect your deity. So some Amazonian tribes in Peru and Brazil and others in Southeast Asia, I think it was in Vietnam, they throw arrows of fire at the sky. And the interesting thing about the sky is that it's out there, unreachable for many ancient societies, but it's still very visible to everybody. So it is an interesting combination that produces anxiety and need to control, but they have no way of doing that except for the use of magic and supernatural beliefs. But
Well, it really is.
we look at it more deeply. Yes.
It really is fascinating. Ancient astronomy.
I know.
It's like,
Yeah.
what?
The fact that they were that
incredible.
accurate too with
Yes.
it, mathematicians, that's
It's
fantastic.
amazing. Anthropology
It's
professor
incredible.
Dr. Patricia Matthews, thank you so much for your insight today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Happy eclipse.
Happy
Yeah,
eclipse.
happy eclipse.